For almost a century, children have been learning to read and expanding their imaginations through the illustrations and verse in Dr. Seuss's books. From easy readers like Green Eggs and Ham to the required high school graduation present, Oh, the Places You'll Go, Theodore Geisel's work is a mainstay of American childhood. But today, some of Seuss's early works have come under scrutiny and censorship for their racial insensitivity. So, we decided to get 3 of these controversial books down from the shelf and see what all the fuss is about. We'll read some books by Dr. Seuss, drinking gin but without juice. We'll have a drink and see what we think. That's enough of that, I say, though I could do this all the day. It's time for episode 50 of Toasting the Classics, Dr. Seuss.
Kick it. Welcome, everybody, to Toasting the Classics. My name is Clint Lanier.
Dave McArthur.
This is the show where we take a classic, a reported classic, analyze it. We
talk about it.
Yep. Test it.
Titrate it. Analyze
Titrate it.
Yeah. Distill it.
Taste
Use
it.
mass spectrometry.
Taste it.
See,
jiggle it. Dance with it. And then we decide whether that thing is a classic or not, because we are an authority. Between us,
arbiters of classicity.
We have almost a half a decade of schooling.
Yep. Mine's mostly having gone back to 3rd grade 19 times, though.
Well, so that does count.
Should count, but...
here we are. And what are we toasting, or what are we analyzing this week?
We are analyzing, how shall we say this? Because sometimes we've had to make the distinction between whether we're toasting the artist or toasting the art. And let's just say we're talking about these 3 books by Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel, children's illustrator, poet of some renown, and we're going to talk about whether these ones deserve to be classics.
Okay, and what are they?
They are, in order of when they were published, we got And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street. Then we have If I Ran the Zoo and McGilligan's Pool. Sorry, other way around. I think McGilligan's Pool is 47 and then 50 is If I Ran the Zoo. But those are the 3 we're talking about, all of which are very early in his career. They are the ones that are not written for little tiny first readers, like Green Eggs and Ham, Cat in the Hat. Those would be, I think, on the list of classic Dr. Seuss books in most people's ledger. But these are the ones that are a little more for bigger kids. They're sort of just long poems with illustrations in them.
Right.
All of which have kind of a theme of imagination, I think, letting your imagination run wild in different circumstances. 2 of them have the same character in it.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised by. Marco. If
you'd
you'd asked me, I must have read McGilligan's Pool as a child 50 times, to my kids 50 times apiece. And if you asked me what was the name of the kid in McGilligan's Pool, I would have never known. No idea what his name was.
The only reason you noticed was because...
Oh, I brought ice as well. We won't run out this time. Usually we run out of ice. So
the only reason you noticed was because they both share the same name, right? You read them back to back, and you're like, wait, Marco.
Well, I noticed because I do the background reading sometimes for the show. I go and I read about the book, and it mentioned that Marco was the name of the kid. So I was like, okay, right. I didn't pick up on it on my own. I'm not a great attentive reader. I don't have a professional literature background like you do, so I just sort of everything just washes over me. And they're named after the son of the guy who got his first book published.
Right.
For vintage.
He was a Dartmouth friend.
A Dartmouth friend, yeah.
Or Dartmouth friend, not
Dartmouth.
It is spelled Dartmouth.
Dartmouth is that band that sang that song All Star, right? Wasn't that Dartmouth?
It is spelled Dartmouth,
right.
So F off.
McClintock.
Kind of like Gloucester Tour.
Gloucester, yeah. Worcestershire.
Right.
When I was a teenager, I went up to New York for one of the first times, sort of unsupervised. And my friend and I were walking all over the city. We were trying to figure out what part of the city we were in, because we would just wander around. We didn't know where we were. And we asked this lady, where are we? How do we get to this? And she says, you go over here, you turn left and get on Houston and blah, blah, blah. And so we were like, okay, thanks. We're walking away and we look at each other. We're like, what are the odds we ask some foreign lady that doesn't know how to pronounce Houston? Although, honestly, Houston is correct. Houston is wrong.
Well, I think
we're adding in sounds to Houston that aren't in Houston. Of course, that's also the most boring thing you could name a town is House Town. Hey, what stands out about this place that we live in? Well, it's a town that has houses.
What the 2 listeners that are remaining want to know?
Right.
Why are we even talking about this?
Why are we talking about this? We're talking about the discrepancy between pronunciation and how things are written. And I'm sure that's important in some way.
Although I will say that he always he actually insisted that Seuss was pronounced Seuss.
Seuss. Yeah, that's how it would be pronounced in German. That's true. I sort of learned while reading about this how he got his name. I must have learned it at some point in my life, but I didn't remember the story.
Best,
I'm guessing you read it too by what we have to drink tonight,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So what are we drinking tonight?
Gin
Because
and
something we
tonics.
do on Toasting the Classics is we take a drink that's inspired by the purported classic.
So we are drinking gin and tonics.
Okay.
So the way he got his name is, I believe, it was in 1924.
Sounds about right.
He was in
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth College.
Dartmouth,
he was the,
Connecticut.
he was the editor of the school newspaper, which is called.
I know what it's called. Sacco or something like that.
It's a weird name, yeah. He was the editor in chief of the school newspaper, writing articles and drawing cartoons. He gets busted. Jacko, there you go. He gets busted with like 8 other students in his dorm room drinking gin and juice.
Nice.
During Prohibition.
Every one of them had their cups, but none of them had chipped in.
Right.
That was the worst thing about it during Prohibition.
So it was during Prohibition.
Right.
And that's why they got mad, was because it was during Prohibition.
Uh-huh.
Not that he had booze in his dorm room. I think that was probably fine because you could drink at any age back then.
Huh,
but
that's an interesting. Yeah, probably.
And so he got in trouble.
Did you see how his family was personally affected by Prohibition?
Yes, his dad was
They owned a brewery.
Yeah, his
they
dad
owned
was a brewery director.
And they actually had trouble afterwards.
Yeah.
Like
the headmaster of the school said, you know what? As punishment, you are no longer allowed to take part in any extracurricular activities,
Right.
including the newspaper.
Right.
And so he could no longer write for the newspaper. He could certainly no longer edit it. So he started using a pen name, and he chose a pen name of Seuss.
Right.
And he would sign it just Seuss, not Doctor.
Didn't say where the doctor came from.
Doctor came in later.
Okay. Because he also went by
The story's stupid, but
whatever Geisel is backwards was one of his names on Jocko.
Lay something.
Yeah,
Leseg
or something like that. Yeah, he had a couple of different
Pen
pseudonyms.
names, yeah.
Pseudonyms for. I was like acronyms. That's not right. Pseudonyms
cheers,
on
by
the
the way.
paper. Yeah, cheers. Gin and tonic.
Here's to. But anyway, if it hadn't been for a gin and juice, Dr. Seuss would not.
This is a gin and tonic, right? Not a gin and juice.
Isn't a gin and juice gin and tonic?
I always thought gin and juice was something else. I mean, it wouldn't call tonic juice, would you?
I don't know. Would you?
You telling me Snoop Dogg was drinking gin and tonics in that song?
I could have sworn.
I guarantee it's something like something else. I don't know what juice I thought it was.
Is Snoop Dogg not sophisticated enough to drink tonic water?
I just can't imagine a bunch of guys hanging out in Compton in 1991 drinking gin and tonics. That seems weird, but maybe. Yeah, this is a good
Google
drink.
me right.
You can't go wrong with gin and tonic. Gin and tonic is a solid cocktail. No, it's not a cocktail, is it? It's a highball. If it's just two things, right?
Yeah, it's just a mixed drink.
What's a highball?
Mixed drink.
Okay.
Could be anything.
All right. So I can take any two things and put them together. And the whole pseudonym thing, by the way, worked out perfectly because the school administration looked at the paper and they just assumed that the paper had picked up another guy who wrote humorous verse and
Oh, you're right.
anapestic
So
tetrameter. And
gin and juice is a fruity cocktail made from gin and fruit juice.
okay,
All right.
unspecified fruit juice.
So-
any particular juice? No, just
Just
juice.
fruity,
Okay.
syrupy juice. So this is not gin
What
and juice.
juice do you think Snoop Dogg drinks with his gin and juice?
I don't know.
OJ?
He actually has, he has his own gin.
Huh.
It's like a cranberry or a raspberry. I think it's a raspberry flavored gin.
Oof. Woof.
So that would tell you.
We bought a bottle of Snoop's wine.
That's not bad, actually.
It was fine.
What,
Nothing wrong with it.
99 Crimes or whatever it's called?
No,
Felony
I think
or-
it's just picture a Snoop Dogg on it. I think it was
Yeah, I
just
think it's
Snoop,
like-
some
I
Snoop
think
Dogg
it's
or
like
something.
anyway.
Maybe. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a perfectly acceptable table wine, no problems.
Yeah, well, he doesn't make it. It's made like
No, it's not him
Yeah,
like
it's made
squeezing
somewhere
out
in
grapes.
Napa
He's not
and
taking off his shoes
put his
and
name
walking
on it,
barefoot
right.
in a huge barrel.
I think he had a little bit more to do with the gin and juice. So why did I pick these particular books?
Because you're just a gadfly, aren't you?
I
You
am a
just
gadfly.
always want to cause trouble. We couldn't
I'm
have
a
read The Cat in the
gadfly.
Hat, which is widely beloved,
Right.
universally acclaimed.
Yeah.
We had to deal with these things.
Green eggs and ham, something like that.
And overall, my take is, having gone back and looked at them, that they are not equally
Well,
problematic.
first of all, just because this is, who knows when you're going to listen to this, these were banned in 2020 or 2019.
A couple years ago.
Before COVID,
It was,
maybe?
no, I think it was during COVID, because I think it was, I think that's all of a sudden we decided we had to fix all of our racial problems after George Floyd,
Right.
Including ones that had nothing to do with George Floyd.
Yeah,
but
right.
I think it was, because it was around the time an acquaintance of ours lost his mind, and I remember having a conversation with him about this, which was after the
About
election.
this, really?
About this, which was,
Interesting.
Trump was elected in 2020, so this was in early 2021, I think.
He was elected
can't be
in
right.
2016.
No. Sorry. When Biden was elected,
Oh, okay,
when my friend thought that Trump was elected.
Okay. All right.
So that was November of 2020. So I think it was after that.
Was it?
I think it was after the election.
So it was very.
It was pretty recently. Yeah. I think it might have even been
but
2021.
in any case, these three were declared banned by both. Interestingly enough, by both the
publisher themselves,
by both the American Library Association, which sort of ran. Okay, so Dr. Seuss on Theodore Geisel's birthday, they declared it years ago, National Reading Day or Read Across America Day, right?
Okay.
Or National Cat in the Hat Day, but it was a day to celebrate reading for children. Definitely a noble cause, and it was put on sort of like spearheaded by I think the National Library Association or Librarians Association or something like that. Well, they came out whenever it was in the last couple of years, and said these books are quote unquote problematic, and so they won't be. We're getting rid of them in the library. We'll no longer have them in the library.
Okay.
And then Geisel's own estate said we will no longer be publishing these.
Right. And that the publishing company that owned them.
I don't think they own them, but who publishes them?
The publisher, yeah,
because the
rights
estate
of
owns them.
Yeah. So there was sort of a broad agreement, and a couple. So I would look back at these things, and if I ran the zoo, has some illustrations that probably they're so bad. There's a picture of some supposed African people in there that are so bad. I'm not sure a child today would recognize them as being human. That's how badly caricatured they are. They're like African people with big fat bellies, and like the lips are overdrawn and stuff. They look like some kind of monster or something. It doesn't look like so. That one, I think probably it'd be best if little black kids didn't have to see that when they're flipping through a children's book. I get that. That's pretty bad. The Asian one is a little bit less offensive, but still pretty bad.
Which one is which? The Asian one is in the.
They're both in If I Ran the Zoo. If I Ran the Zoo refers to people who wear their eyes at a slant, and has a picture of some very 19th century looking like coolie style Chinese people, and also the African one. And I'm saying that's probably one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books. I read that to my kids all the time. I never really honestly thought much about it. You know, if the kids because I think the kids see it and they just think it's some kind of a creature in the picture. It doesn't look like a person,
right? So
it just kind of goes over their head. So I never really gave that much thought. It never really came up.
Put a thumbtack in that. We're going to come back to that. Okay.
But the other two, there's again, it's the same thing in Mulberry Street. There's a drawing of somebody who's supposed to be Chinese. Expressly, they say he's Chinese. That one's super old-fashioned looking, and it's very old-fashioned to like have a carnival. And one of the things at the carnival is a Chinese person.
Right, right.
I mean, yeah, maybe in the 1930s that would have been like, oh my God, look, there's a person who eats with sticks,
it doesn't say
It does. It says a Chinese man who eats with sticks, I think is exactly what it says. And it's just from a time when the world was bigger, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you'd be over here in America and you would have never met anybody from another country maybe. Or I don't know. That seems hard to believe. You never met anybody from China?
I would.
Maybe if you're in a small town. Yeah, maybe if you're in a small town.
I would definitely believe that. Yeah.
I guess so. Did I ever tell you about when I first moved here? And I was over at the mall, and I got some Chinese food from the crummy little food court place. You met a Chinese
man? Wow.
No, I was sitting there eating my food, and this old man comes up, and he's like, "Were you in the service?" And I was like, "No. Why? Why do you ask?" And he's like, "Where did you learn to eat with chopsticks?" And I was just like, "Dude, I grew up in a city. That's where." Like, I was like, it didn't even occur to me that was a thing that somebody would point out.
How old was that old man?
Like 80.
Okay, well there you go.
I mean, yeah, he was. So I mean, it was definitely like something he'd never seen before.
Have you ever seen a cookbook from like 1960?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Although they come in editions. Like my mom had The Joy of Cooking.
Okay.
But it was probably like the 15th edition of it. I don't know if it was
whatever
was in there that was racist had probably been taken out.
So I mean, they were typically fairly terrible. I mean, like you would have like sweet and sour, and they'd use like ketchup and pineapple sauce.
Oh yeah.
And they had no understanding of.
Yeah.
I mean, it was go watch Mad Men. Mad Men is a great example of what life was like in the 50s and 60s.
And that's for people in New York.
And that's in New York, which is cosmopolitan.
Right, which is a cosmopolitan place.
So I mean,
just about the most cosmopolitan place you could imagine.
Okay, I was when I was on the job.
I've been watching Seinfeld again. and it's a New York show. Like
Right.
it's very much a New York show, and the lack of sophistication about world stuff, the difference between now and 30 years ago for
Yeah.
New Yorkers is huge. Already, it's like you're looking at the way they refer to things from other countries.
Soup Nazi, for example.
Well, no, I mean they talk about there's a whole episode called The Chinese Woman where there's a white lady whose last name is Chang, and so it's a pretty funny episode actually
Right.
if you actually watch it. I know it sounds terrible, but the way they talk about it is it's like the country was so much less cosmopolitan and so much whiter even in New York 30 years ago. Things have changed so
That
much.
might be because they understand the audience isn't just New York. I mean, it could be that, you know.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
I mean, Larry
but
David's not stupid.
No, yeah, but I think it was really like I think he's pretty.
But you know what?
He shoots from the hip.
I had a job interview at K State University in Manhattan, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
The Little Big Apple, as they call it. On campus, I really quickly noticed that pretty much everybody was white.
Oh yeah, in Kansas, yeah,
and
definitely.
well, Manhattan, Kansas,
Yeah.
K State, and there would be like one cadre of people of color walking in a group, place to place,
Right.
and they're all athletes. They all had like,
I see.
and how did I know they were athletes? Well, they had like jackets on that said like they literally had like jackets on that said basketball team, stuff like that. One of the things I was asked was like, could you teach diversity in your classes? And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, you got to understand that a lot of our students have never seen anybody that don't look like them
Right.
in their life.
Yeah.
And so can you, like, how would you teach a wider world to these people?
Right.
Right? Like that was that was a serious discussion here. It's still like that, man. I mean, it's not,
Some places, yeah, definitely.
It really is, you know. I would say the Dakotas probably, you know. I'd say Montana, Wyoming, you know,
West
Iowa.
Virginia, lots of places.
You know, lots of places.
But any
It's
college
like that.
today, there'd be kids from all over the world, I think.
No, well, not there. K State.
they
It
would.
wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was 2000. So I got 2006 is when I was on the market. So
Yeah.
wasn't too long ago.
I don't know about Manhattan, but
Manhattan, Kansas, not so much.
No,
I mean,
or
that's the thing is
Topeka
like
or Wichita or
is
something,
you
but-
say to yourself you would think, but you're looking at everything else through the eyes of where you've been.
right.
You got to understand this whole flyover thing is real. You know, the flyover states.
I hate when people say that.
It's true though.
I was reading an article in the New Yorker the other day, and they referred to indistinguishable cities in places like Denver, Houston, and Cincinnati. And I was
Holy
like,
cow.
you realize that forms a triangle where each of the legs of the triangle is about 1,000 miles long, right? Like that,
right.
those are not the same place. They're
But
not near each other
What's
in
the
any way.
perspective they're writing from, right?
That's the perspective that
Center-
everything from New
center-
York to San Francisco
yeah.
is the flyover.
Center,
Yeah, no, I
center
get
of,
it. It's-
center of the universe.
Yes,
right.
it's very
to,
obnoxious.
to a lot of elites. So
Yeah. Really, you're really missing out on a lot when you have that attitude towards
And I will have
the
to say
3,000 miles in
that
between. You know.
the alternative to that story, which that blew me away when they asked, "Can you teach diversity?" I'm like, "Why? Well, nobody's ever seen anybody of color."
Yeah.
Okay. The alternative was a couple of weeks later I interviewed at Auburn in Auburn, Alabama, and I found out during my interview that Auburn was actually the state university at one time, and it was called it wasn't Alabama State University, it was something else, but it was a state university. And I found that out, and I'm meeting with the dean of the like arts and sciences or something like that. And he's like just bragging on all of their kind of like wokeness, even in 2006, and how great they are and stuff. And he asked me if I had any questions. I said, yeah. I said, I do have a question. I said, I just found out that you're like the state university, like the big state university.
Right.
And he's like, oh, yeah, because it's kind of a big thing to be a land-grant state university.
Sure. Oh, because there's no Alabama State per se.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And so we're here at New Mexico State University.
New Mexico State, right.
Right. Land grant, what a land grant means is that we accept everybody. Mm-hmm. That's what a state university means. A land grant college means we accept everybody. That's our mission.
Is that why Auburn changed its name so it wouldn't have to accept black people? Is that where we're going with this?
So I asked him, I said, you're the state university. He's like, yes, we are. He's very proud about it. And I said, how come there aren't any black people here?
Right.
And he looked at me and his face screwed up. It distorted into a shape I'd never seen
Clint,
before.
there aren't very many black people in Alabama.
Well, that's a good point. And you'd have to be.
I'm kidding, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black people in
But
Alabama.
it was the same thing on that campus. Like the only kind of cadre of group of people of color I'd see walking around, they're all athletes.
That would be. Where is Auburn? Is that in Birmingham?
No, it's in Auburn.
Oh, I don't know where
it's
that
north
is.
like an hour and a half.
Up in the
or
north.
something.
Yeah, okay, right.
What's funny, I always say about that job interview is they never told me that I wasn't hired.
Right.
They never told me I was hired, but that was the only one I never got a letter from that said, sorry, we've moved on to somebody else.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But they also didn't like offer me the job. And all I could think of was like, I really poked a hole in his woke pride or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's, anyway.
People tuned in to hear about Dr. Seuss, and we're just going off about.
Well, that's a good point.
So, did you grow up with these books?
So I had a kind of a mini. It wasn't like the big full ones. They made like a mini set,
okay,
like little mini books and stuff.
These seem like the ones that I had. These look about right.
I had anything cheap is what I had as a kid because I had a terrible childhood. So anything cheap I had, and we had like small little kind of booklet types. I don't even know if they had hardback, but yeah, I remember all of these. Mm-hmm. If I Ran the Zoo is probably my least favorite, actually.
No, I read that one a lot when I was a kid. I didn't have Mulberry. I just read Mulberry for the first time for the show today.
McGillicuddy's Pool.
McGillicuddy's Pool I had when I was a kid. I loved it. I made my dad read it to me over and over again when I was.
But it was like those two are. It's all about imagination. Well, I mean, they all three of them are. But it's kind of like what would happen if type of thing, and your imagination just kind of runs away with you, and you just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's a theme for all three.
Yeah,
I think so. Yep.
And those two I particularly liked. Thinking especially I really liked McGillicuddy's Pool. Like what's down there.
Yep.
Right.
Me too.
Because the premise is that this kid's fishing in this pool, and this farmer comes along and says, hey, people throw junk down there. That's all that's down there. You're not going to catch any fish. He's like, yeah, but maybe there's something below there.
Yep.
And then he just starts kind of.
I remember that drawing of the tunnel going underneath the
going
house.
all the way. Yeah.
When I was a little kid, we had so some younger listeners may not remember that there was once no such thing as Google Maps. Mm-hmm. So if you had an address in your city that you wanted to go to, you had to use a map that was on paper. And we had this booklet that had maps of the whole county, and you'd look up the address and you could go to wherever. And in the book, we'd be in the car with my parents, and I would just look at the little stream behind where my house was, and I would follow it from map to map all the way through Fairfax County and out to the Potomac River and to the Chesapeake Bay. And I just loved to do that over and over again, trace where the little – and I think it was because I liked McGillicuddy's Pool when I was a little kid. It was like the idea that you're connected to the sea in some sort of way. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
What aquifers were, I was like, oh my gosh, it's real.
Yeah.
Because it could go anywhere. Like water here could end up, who knows where, right?
Who knows? We're not that far from the Continental Divide here in Las Cruces.
Right.
I was surprised by that when I moved here. It felt like it should be somewhere else. I don't know, farther west or something. But.
We're really close to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that one really kind of always took my imagination more than the other ones.
Yeah.
The reason I picked these was I was in our local school library, like NMSU library here.
Okay.
Pretty much any library you go into, a lot of bookstores you go into, especially if they're particularly kind of woke-ish.
Right.
They have a sign that says read banned books.
Right.
All the banned books on there, they're all being banned by the right.
Right.
And we can't have that. And what the right is banning is like, that has too much sexuality, and that talks about LGBTQ and blah blah blah.
Right.
Can't have that. And so the woke left is like, let's deny them that by let's read all these.
Yeah, you wouldn't see one of these Dr. Seuss books.
But
on
I
the
don't
shelf
see any
there.
of these things on there. And it's the same thing as and you also don't see Huckleberry Finn. You don't see Tom Sawyer on their banned list. And
I think I've seen those listed as banned books, and I remember
read the banned books.
I think so. Yeah, I have actually seen that.
Why are those banned? Because of the N-word,
because of the racial
right?
language. Yeah.
And so but it's the same thing with these. It makes no sense. Like either you're for it or you're against it, right?
So it's okay. Huckleberry Finn, you read. You're much older. You read it, and you're old enough to have it explained to you that this is from a different time, and these are books that you just hand to a little kid. And when you give something to a little kid,
what did you just say about your kids though? Do they focus on these things? Do they ideate?
I don't really think so.
Those?
But you know what? My kids will ask me a question if they have a problem. We're very much to my chagrin. Sometimes my kids will tell me if they think something's stupid. It's how I raised them to be, and it's something I can't stand about them at the same time.
Okay.
They're very articulate, vocal about not understanding things.
So what you're saying
I can't have a lot of
Tom Sawyer is intellectual enough that it's older kids and they'll get it.
I do think so.
But this is to younger kids, and they're stupid, and they'll get brainwashed and think that that's what black people are like, and that's what China people are like, and blah blah blah.
Definitely, that's what I'm saying. I think it's on a grade. I think that If I Ran the Zoo is on the line for me, and the other two are sort of like. I read McElligot's poll. I've read it like 3 times since this happened, trying to find what the problem was with it.
And what was it?
And the only thing I can come up with is that there's a fish called an Eskimo fish,
right.
And there's a picture of a guy in like a parka. That to me is a stretch because it's like, I know better. I don't say Eskimo. I've taught my kids that. We talk about Native American, history and culture, whatever. But like, I think most Americans probably still say Eskimo.
Probably.
I'd say 90% of people still say Eskimo, referring to Inuit. I have no idea that it's offensive. Don't mean anything by it.
Right.
And this is something that's going on 100 years old. That's a stretch to me.
Right.
I think the book is good enough to get over that.
Okay.
I like If I Ran the Zoo. I always liked that one. It's fun. But those. Really, if you focused on those pictures of like the Africans in the drawing, it's pretty bad. So I could see maybe trying to edit it, go with a different drawing or something like that. I don't see why you couldn't do that for further printings.
Our choices are like, that is an option. And we've looked at that recently because I think there have been animated movies, features that have edited kind of themselves, like self-edited.
I think so, yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
The alternative was what Disney did, which was saying like this could be offensive to somebody.
Right.
I think the whole thing is crap. I think the whole thing is stupid. It really is. It's not making the world better. It's not making the world worse. It's not doing anything. Generally speaking.
Well, I'm with you. A lot of it is
it's like posturing or something. It really is posturing. I don't think it does anybody any good.
I was saying that I don't like people like signifying virtue.
Right.
I just find that to be so obnoxious. Making a big campaign about something like this because it's your way of proving to everybody that you're in the right place and stuff. I don't have a lot of time for that.
A book is a book.
Me.
Look, Mein Kampf is out there. Mein Kampf is not banned. Okay.
Right.
There are.
But if Mein Kampf, not that this is like Mein Kampf. This is not the equivalent.
Right.
But if that were a picture book, you wouldn't just hand it to a 4-year-old and let them flip through.
But a 4-year-old isn't going to get anything out of that. I mean, they're really not.
I don't honestly think
ridiculous.
So.
Because like you said, generally speaking, you're doing Cat in the Hat, you're doing ABC, you're doing.
Well, we had these. We had these two. These two are part of our rotation. Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham, On Beyond Zebra. Everybody really liked.
One Fish, Two Fish.
One Fish, Two Fish. We always read. These two. I had a couple more when I was a kid, but I think that's about the basic 6 or 7 that I read to my kids when they were little. We own the Lorax, but I don't remember ever reading it. I really liked Bartholomew Cubbins and the Oobleck when I was a kid. I loved that one. I don't know why. Again, it was like the pictures were really evocative. These big towers and things like that. I don't know. I
read a lot of
I like the drawings in Dr. Seuss a lot when I was a kid.
Political ones, like what were the ones with the two that the
Sneetches?
Sneetches. The Sneetches.
Yertle the Turtle. And then, what's funny? He was talking about Yertle the Turtle. And he sort of did it as a metaphor for Hitler, and he was worried people would be offended by that. But he got in trouble because it was the first time a children's book had ever had a character burp. Was what they complained about.
Wow, makes sense. I just think, look, we're in kind of a fad time right now.
Yeah,
and
I have a tendency to want to buck the local the trends.
The fad right now is anything that could possibly cause any type of rile to people of color, or
the Eskimo thing I think is a stretch. I think that's ridiculous. But I'd come down on the side of it. If I show you this drawing here, these guys. Honestly, I didn't even know they're supposed to be humans. These drawings of supposedly African people, those are pretty bad. Now, in defense of it, there's a drawing here of a Russian who looks just as ridiculous.
Yeah. So
clearly we're not dealing with like a racial, it's just kind of making fun of people from other countries by caricaturing them.
Right.
So I don't know. And they do in the text refer to people having slant eyes, which is kind of uncomfortable in a children's book. Especially because if you think about it, a lot of kids are reading it, they'll be Asian. It's not like it's all white kids that we're worried about. Like you could be Asian kid reading that, be like actually offended.
Well, that's true.
That's kind of like hurtful for a kid to read that.
Well, what we could do
is helpers who all wear their eyes at a slant. And look at these pictures. And that's, that make you uncomfortable, like a Korean dad reading that to his kid. That'd be pretty, a Korean American kid. That's uncomfortable. Even just reminding people that at one point, it's just marginalizing, I guess. Like make you feel like you're an exotic creature in a way. you think about it. I don't know. I wouldn't. I could see why a parent would be uncomfortable reading that to their kid. How do you just make people know what's in there? Or I don't really know how you go about it.
I don't know. I don't know either. I think,
I don't like banning books.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I think, Disney has tried to do the kind of sensitivity thing, like this is what you're going to find in here.
Right.
And I don't mind that so much.
That's a little bit better of an approach. You don't want to.
Maybe a page at the beginning that say, "Hey parents, just so you know, blah blah blah." Like this was written in 1934. Worldviews have changed since then. Yeah. And
now you could see why a publishing company, for instance, just wouldn't want to deal with that, and they just drop it.
Right.
But that's their choice. That's a commercial decision to some extent.
No, it really is. Yeah, it really is.
But the libraries, I don't know.
That's what really kind of.
I mean, you know how I am with my kids, though.
Yeah.
I'm not real hypocritical on this. I'm pretty open about letting my kids watch and read and see just about everything, and we talk about it.
You more so than me.
I know, and that's something that I'm big on. I really don't restrict their access to things. I don't want them to see really upsettingly graphic violence, and I try to stay away from like anything that's sort of like pruriently sexual. If you know what I mean? Like I don't really want to watch that with my kids. Just something that's designed to titillate people. Like,
right.
Sexuality in general, I'm not really. It's not a big deal, but I know a lot of my friends restrict what their kids watch way more than I do.
Yeah.
And so I think they maybe would be hypocritical if they said that they were upset about this, because this is just somebody else's decision about what they don't want their kids to see.
Yeah.
I think I'm on pretty solid ground. I'm pretty open about, oh, you read the word Eskimo. Don't say the word Eskimo. That's a rude thing that people used to say it. They didn't understand what it meant. Let's move on, We'll have a discussion about it. That's just kind of the way I parent,
Yeah.
Go ahead, but let's face this thing. Let's talk about it. Let's move on. But I'm good at talking to my kids, and I don't really sequester them from things. And some people don't have the inclination or the time to do that. I have to sort of understand that about other people's parenting situation. Right. They don't have the resources I do. So I don't know. Trying not to be judgmental.
Yeah.
I am still judgmental,
But I have to go back to a couple things. So let's you and I are a different case. Okay. You are an attorney.
True.
Married to a physician.
True.
I am a professor.
Right.
Married to a NP. So we have a bit of background, like academic background, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah.
But let's
think about more education than is probably healthy for us.
Think about my mom, for example, who read these stories to me, who didn't have, a lot of that. So, she I know she didn't explain, we don't call it this anymore, or.
Is Peter Pan, sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but is Peter Pan banned?
Well, no, but at the beginning.
There's a whole bunch of Indians.
Yes.
The Indians are exoticized. And
Native Americans.
But no, they're called the Indians in
Yes.
Peter Pan, and they're,
But they represent Native Americans, like Tiger Lily and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the movie, it has this whole
it does. Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's the thing. Is like my mom would never have said, you know what, we don't really refer to this anymore, or this is kind of like very antiquated. We've grown since then. We progressed past that type of thing. My mom never would have said that, and still probably wouldn't say that if she reads that to my kids.
One of the things that drives me the most crazy about it is it's like once someone says they want to cancel something like this, and I use the word cancel sloppily, but once they say it, it's like you can't even have a conversation about why or question it. Automatically, you're assumed to be like a virulent racist if you're like, well, why do we have to? What's the? Some of my friends I was in Phoenix. And they were talking about there was this road. It used to be called, I don't know, Squaw Mountain or something like that, and they changed it.
Right.
And I was like, why did they change it? And they were like, well, squaw is an offensive word. And I was like, well, I didn't mean like, I'm going to keep saying squaw, God damn it, no matter what you people. I was just like, literally, what's offensive about that? And they wouldn't talk to me about it. They were just like offended that I asked the question.
Did they not know, though?
I don't know. I didn't get an answer. That's what they left me just being like.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I really don't. I think.
It's just a word people used to refer to Native American women, and I guess it would have been sort of.
But I think it's become
sort of.
I think it's become a pejorative over the years.
Is it pejorative? I guess that's what I was asking. It's weird to have a word for a woman of a certain culture, I guess, but
it didn't.
I needed an explanation, is what I was saying, and I wasn't allowed to.
I don't think it started out that way, but it's become that, right?
I certainly never heard anybody use it in a pejorative way. It's an old-fashioned word, but
I think it's become perception more than reality. We think that it could be something bad.
Yeah.
So therefore, we got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay. There have been multiple cases where, like phrases have been banned. Whatever. Things have been banned because. Oh, okay. So Jingle Bells, like the song Jingle Bells. That song was canceled, and this story actually just happened this past year. So it would have been 2021 holidays. It was banned from a music program in like a Connecticut elementary school or something like that because they somehow associated the song Jingle Bells with like minstrel shows. Okay.
Oh, right.
And it was based on an academic paper written by a historian, like a professor of history, who discussed the song Jingle Bells and blah, 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 and how bells were put on...
Like Mr. Bojangles, kind of, right?
Bells were put on... Isn't that what
Mr. Bojangles is?
Bells were put on slaves, so if they tried to escape, like they could hear them or something like that. Okay. So there was that part of it and everything else. Okay. So it mentions that in the paper, but the song had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
The song is actually about basically horse racing, but they would do it with sleighs. Okay, and if you look at the words of the song, and it's verified that there's a guy that wrote this. He wrote it in a bar, and it was about betting on horse racing.
Okay.
And there's this particular town where they'd race up and down with sleighs. Okay. And so that's the original song. So what happened was this school, somebody at the school read this paper, and it associated this song with something bad.
Right.
And they said, "Oh my God, we can't do that anymore."
Yeah.
All right. So it's now, and they said it was because of this association with like minstrels and slavery and all this other stuff. The researcher who wrote the paper came out and said, No, it has nothing to do with that.
Right.
No. I mentioned that, in the paper, but you shouldn't cancel it. That's stupid.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it. It was the notion or the whiff or the dusting or whatever you want to call it of this weird association. And they're like, okay, we can't do that now.
Yeah.
It wasn't a direct association. It had nothing really to do with it.
So I think it's two things going on.
But it was like a notion of it.
But let's be honest,
that was enough.
The person who brings that up at the school board meeting they do it because they want to get attention. Because they want to be the person to put something out there in front of the meeting, get attention, get to feel self-righteous for a few minutes. But then the problem is that like you're saying, oh, we can't sing Jingle Bells anymore. That's racist. And somebody goes, why is Jingle Bells racist? And everybody goes, racist.
Yeah, you're a racist because you asked that.
Because that's what it was like with the squaw thing. Is I was like honestly, innocently asking the question, what's wrong with that word? Like, can you just and everybody just like clammed up. The whole car was like silent. I was like, I didn't just burn a cross on someone's lawn. I'm just curious what the
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember one of my friends. We all said Oriental for Asian people up until, I don't know, this was like 1990, 91 or something. And one of my friends was like, you shouldn't say Oriental. That's like for things. You should say Asian. And I was just like, I don't really 100% understand that logic. But okay, I don't want to say something that's offensive to people. So I just changed, no big deal, But that was somebody Asian telling me how it made them feel. And I was like, okay, if I'd been in that car with a Native American woman and she'd said, we changed that word because it's offensive to me. It makes me feel bad. The conversation would be over.
Right.
I don't need to use a word that makes you feel bad. It's like when a bunch of white people tell me what I should say about Native Americans, I'm like, sure you're not just being a self-righteous, twit? Like, it's like the whole Redskins thing with the team. I never heard a single Native American tell me that they thought that was offensive. Now, I don't know a whole lot of Native, but I do know some. I never heard anybody talk about that, that was offensive to them. And in the second somebody did, I would have been like, okay, change it. I just don't really want to listen to a bunch of like self-righteous white people from New England think of it.
Right.
Like I don't care what they think.
So that's actually a really good point because
If a black dad had complained about this book and said it offended his little black kid,
Right.
100% I would have been like, yeah, let's
Sure.
drop it. Let's drop it. That makes me feel
But
bad that your kid
you have
felt
the
bad,
Librarians Association, which I
Of
would
white ladies from
I
Connecticut.
would guarantee
Yeah,
is
yeah.
96%
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
They're
Wanting
the one,
to feel self-righteous,
They're the
wanting
ones.
to have
they're the
something
ones
on their agenda,
saying
yeah.
that this is how it should be.
Right.
And it's like, really?
Yeah.
Do we really have to listen to that? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, but it should open a discussion. It's a bit like, this is a trend in American intellectual life ever since the beginning, starting with the witch trials.
Yeah.
And then with the communists, and then now it's racism. It's like there's always a thing that's so bad that we can't even have a discussion of it once it comes up. If somebody is accused of being communist, even to ask questions about why do you think they're a communist? They go, communist.
Yeah.
Like you must be a communist.
Yeah, because you asked that question. Yeah.
And it's just like you got to be careful not to get outside the little town hall meeting if you're an American.
Right.
Like we pounce on people. It's just kind of part of our culture, I think.
Yeah. One of my favorite paintings ever, Norman Rockwell. He painted a series of, I think it was a series of the Bill of Rights.
Okay.
And so.
Oh yeah. Where the guy's standing up to talk, the sort of homeless-looking guy standing up to talk.
So he's standing up. He's like in a church or something.
Yeah.
There's like all these pews. He's standing up to talk, and everybody around him. Some people have a look of like disdain on their face.
Right,
Some people
right.
irritation. Some people, acceptance. The point is, you have the right to speak.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
No matter
picture,
what.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful picture. And that's just how it should be. Like, if it offends you, it offends you. But that's on you. I still have the right to speak. If it makes you mad, if you don't agree with it, if it makes you angry, well, that's fine. This is my opinion, and I have that right to express it. Okay? And I might be wrong. Personally, I'm wrong a lot. But then you have the right to tell me that how I'm wrong. Not just tell me to shut up, but to say, you know what?
There's a line in there.
This is why you're wrong.
There's the old Oliver Wendell Holmes quote about, it doesn't give you the right to shout fire in a crowded theater.
But
right?
you're not shouting fire.
No, but
if you're offending somebody.
But hear me out for a
that's
second.
different.
Yes, just being offended. But there's like a spectrum there where at some point saying the words, go grab that black guy and string him up from a tree is just speech, right? But at the same time, it's like shouting fire in a theater. It's dangerous.
Yes.
Someone could die. Someone could be hurt.
I agree,
because of
but
it.
that's a really extreme example, though.
It's an extreme example, but the point is that I'm trying to draw is that there's a spectrum where sometimes some of this language could be incendiary enough, especially in this country with our history, racial language could be incendiary enough to be borderline very dangerous. It's a line, and I'm not set on where I think the line is. In other words, I had a conversation with some people about like Trump talking about to his followers about overturning the election, and then they went and attacked the Capitol, and it was like, was it enough that he was inciting them? And I was like, I don't know. I'm right on the, you know what I mean? Like,
well, the thing I hate
that's the gray area.
The thing I hate is the stupid dog whistle thing. Like, so it's like an implicit coded signal.
Right.
That is the biggest
like
crap.
what? What are you talking about?
I don't know. It's like, that's a dog whistle for racists to go and burn down a church.
Oh, you mean like you don't think
whatever.
that ever happened? Oh, well, it wouldn't be that bad, but I mean,
or whatever it happens to be.
Like what was it Hillary Clinton that was talking about super predators? Trying to scaring people about super predators in the cities, and I'm like, you know exactly what image you're painting in the mind of white women in Middle America when you say that. Well, that is a dog whistle.
That was like 98.
Now that I don't think that should be illegal because I don't think that's incendiary enough to be directly connected to violence, right? Like I think that's far enough that we have to tolerate crappy speech like that.
Yeah.
We have to just be like, okay. The remedy for someone saying something dumb like that is to call out how dumb it is and what they're trying to do. And we use our, unfortunately, withering rhetorical skills as a nation to deal with crappy speech. Right? That's what we're supposed to do. We're a democracy. We're supposed to be skilled in rhetoric. We're supposed to be articulate. We're supposed to be able to confront bad thoughts. There's supposed to be a vigorous marketplace of ideas, right? In America. That's what a democracy is. So when she says that,
Are we a republic?
well, but we have democratic principles.
Okay.
Well, yeah, as a republic in terms of representative democracy. You know, we are supposed to have free speech, and we're supposed to be bouncing ideas off each other and free to make our own choices when we vote and things like that. But the remedy is to stand up and call somebody out when they say something like that. So I'm okay with that kind of speech. Not its content, obviously.
But so actually what you just said is exactly right. The point is, like, you stand up and you say, this is what you said, and this is what's wrong with it.
Right.
Not essentially doing the same thing to your own followers, like having some general message. They said whatever. I mean, because that's doing what the people in the car did when you said, what's wrong? Okay, what's wrong with the word squaw?
Right.
Like, you know, and then everybody just shuts up and like damns you.
I mean,
for
some
even
of
asking a
it. Some of
question.
it is because they think I'm a racist who wants to fight, and they just don't want to get into it, right? And I'm like, no, that's really not. I would hope you guys know me better than that. That's really not what's going on here. Like, I'm just literally confused. What's wrong with that? You know, we really got off onto general political.
We really
topics.
did. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get back to.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get back to Geisel real quick. Did you know that he served with Stan Lee
In what?
in the military?
I know he had some role in World War II. Yeah.
So in the Army, he was made a captain.
okay.
He was put in charge of an animation company.
Oh,
Like,
right.
They
I think they did some
animation.
stuff that was very positive towards the Japanese. Didn't
Yes,
they?
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, they Japanese, especially Japanese Americans.
Oh, really? About Japanese Americans?
Oh boy, that was bad.
Like
yeah.
supporting the internment and stuff like
Yeah.
that? Ugh.
Like
That's pretty gross.
there's one where basically there was a Japanese-looking person, I guess,
Oh, boy.
in America, standing in America, being handed a big roll of dynamite by a Japanese person in Japan,
Uh-huh.
because then they can take it to somewhere in America and blow America up, I guess, or
Wow,
something like
yeah.
that.
Jeez. Yeah, that's
so-
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I'm not a big
but
fan
he
of
actually, but the thing I am kind of a fan of was that he actually served with Stan Lee. So Stan Lee
Cool.
was also, and that's not, it's like Stan Leibowitz or something like that, but he
Lieber.
Lieber.
Yeah.
He served also in World War II in, I think, the animation department or whatever
Right.
it was called. And he served with Geisel. I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
two
you know,
kind
actually,
of icons.
originally there was a character who had a magic shrinking and growing suit that he developed during the war called Slant Man. And they had to
Yeah.
change it after the war
Really?
to Ant-Man.
Did
That's
he eat
what-
with
that's-
sticks?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. That was his power. He would grab people with their stick.
Oh, with the sticks, yeah.
So speaking of things that I may have to cut from the show, I wanted to. So the people that don't like the Eskimo thing about McGilligan's Pool, I wanted to point out something that's very groundbreaking in this book. This page about the fish the kind that likes flowers,
Yes.
is wearing makeup and rainbows and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. This
yeah.
is the first trans character in a children's illustrated
Well,
book.
that's definitely not a woman. That's a drag fish.
That is a trans
not-
someone
no,
who
not
identifies.
trans.
He identifies
not
as
trans. That's a drag fish.
Oh, you think?
Not a dragon fish. A drag fish.
Okay.
Yeah, totally
All right.
different.
Yeah, but I think maybe we should let this back into the canon.
He's
because
going to
of
go
this. Or
actually.
maybe the
He's actually
Republicans
going to
should
go
ban
read a book in a library, in a drag fish reading session, or something, or go dance in the mall or something like that. I don't know.
it. Go dance in the. All right.
They had a whole trans dance thing in the mall.
Oh yeah, sure. Do you know we went to? Have you ever been to? It's called Delicias del Mar. It's a seafood place. It's over on Paseo.
Yeah.
Okay, so we went there one time. Karina and I went there, and we had dinner. We liked it. So we had these friends of ours that wanted to go to dinner. We were like, oh, we really like this place. Let's go there Friday night. So we get there Friday night, and I mean, it's just this like random little seafood place in the middle of town here.
Right.
And we go in, and it's drag night.
Isn't that weird?
And there's like a lady singing, and there's families eating their dinner, and there's this lady going around singing drag. There's this guy
Well, not
going around
weird, but
in
it's
drag,
just-
like singing at tables. I was like, what is this cultural phenomenon?
Yeah, totally random.
I was like, is this a Mexican thing that I don't know about?
There
or-
are places all around town that do that. It's like,
There are? Okay,
yes,
all right. Okay, so
it's
that's
not
something.
just that place. But then, I don't know. I mean, you hear like Hispanic people are fairly conservative, and then
Yeah, that's what I think,
and
right?
then-
I think
and
of them
then-
as being,
right,
in
right.
general, pretty conservative. But this
Yeah.
was like, everybody's just down with this drag show in the middle of their dinner with their
Right.
kids there. And I was like,
Right. Huh?
I don't
Yeah.
get this. Is not firing. I don't know. It's like this thing in Louisiana where every once in a while, go get a drink or go get dinner, and you'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden they open up the doors, and ladies in lingerie come in and walk around walk around your table, and then leave.
Why?
I don't know. I never figured it out. It was like unpredictable. You'd just be at the daiquiri shop on a Tuesday night, and all of a sudden, ladies would come in lingerie and walk around. I remember I was with my
Are
parents.
you supposed to like give them money?
I don't know what you were supposed to. No one ever explained this phenomenon to me.
Interesting.
I was a little kid. The first time I ever went to Louisiana, I was having like lunch somewhere with my parents, and these ladies walk in and walk around the table in lingerie. And I was like 11. I was like, "What is
This is the best thing ever. I want to move here." That's why you went to college there.
I was like, maybe if my parents hadn't been there, I would have enjoyed it more. It was kind of awkward. But
that's why you went to law school. I get
very
it.
weird phenomenon. I never figured out what that was. So, which of these books was your favorite?
Probably the McGillicud's Pool.
McGillicud's Pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either that or If I Ran. I don't know. I can't decide. I like both of those.
Although, it's interesting because there's this kind of like split between pre-World War II and then post-World War II with his themes. Like pre-World War II, he had this like big imagination. It was still written in poetry, kind of fantastical worlds, and then post was all about little kid stuff. Right? It was like the Green Eggs and Ham, and it was the ABC book, and those One Fish, Two Fish type of things. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I kind of like the pre-World War II, like the older kid stuff, because it was less of like.
Oh, you mean the Cat in the Hat and stuff like that?
No, that was post. That was post World War II. I'm saying pre-World War II. These.
Well, these are the two of the three are after the war, 47 and 50.
34 was McGillicud's.
37 is Mulberry.
Mulberry, rather.
47 is McGillicud's, and then the other one's 50. So
I'm thinking like
they're all like immediately,
I'm thinking,
right after the war.
I'm thinking like
first couple
of
pre-war
later
years.
Yeah.
But the idea of Cat in the Hat, that was the first time it ever occurred to somebody that maybe you could get kids to read by writing them a book that they would enjoy reading while learning to read, which seems like so obvious. Now they have like whole Harry Potter series, which essentially exists to get kids reading.
Right.
How was that not obvious? They were just like, see Dick and Jane.
Yeah,
Jane, but that must have been torture to go to school back then.
See Spot run, or bark Spot bark or something stupid like that,
Yeah. So did you have any surprises? Anything catch you off guard about this?
Biggest surprise. Let's see. What would have been my biggest surprise? Well, actually, really interesting was his dad was a brewmaster or whatever. I thought that was really cool, but also like everything they went through during World War I, because they're German immigrants, and during World War I, they like personally suffered a lot of abuse.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
because
we read about that in Tree Grows in Brooklyn. The Germans getting picked on, and the Irish having contests with the Germans, the singing contests. And stuff.
And so that really happened to them, and they were like he and his sister were just kind of mercilessly, teased and everything, and like in the late 19-teens because of their last name, their German heritage. I think their parents spoke German.
He spoke German.
Oh, he spoke German too.
He did speak German.
But his parents like primarily spoke German.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
And everybody knew that. So in the little town they were in was it Missouri?
No, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, rather.
Springfield, Mass.
Yeah.
Not that small of a town. I guess it's kind of small.
Probably in 19-teens.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was. And so
minor surprise
really
for me. I thought he was born in Germany. I thought he was an immigrant. I didn't really know that he was
his
born
parents
in the States.
were,
I thought Dr. Seuss came over from Germany as a kid. That was I never read his biography, so that was my minor surprise.
I'll say one of my biggest regrets in life.
Okay.
It was
There was this girl.
No, it was 1994 or 95.
Okay.
I went to Vegas for the first time.
Okay.
My life. Imagine
Clint with frosted tips.
Yeah, frosted tips.
Yeah,
and I had
that's true.
I had like no money. I had a credit card with $500 limit. I had like $200 cash. I was in Vegas, no money. Didn't know what I was doing there anyway.
Right.
And in Caesar's Palace, there used to be this really great art gallery in the forum shops at Caesar's. And I walked in there, and they had an original.
Oh yeah.
Theodore Geisel.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And it was an oil painting. It was probably it wasn't that big. It was maybe like 3 by, I don't know. Well, yeah, maybe like 2 by 4, maybe 2 by 3, something like that. And it was $500.
Yeah.
$500.
That's blood money
for
when you're a kid.
Original.
That's blood money.
Theodore
when you're
Geisel.
that age.
I'm 21 years old.
Yeah, no. You're not
I've got
doing
$500
that.
on my credit card.
Ah.
I've got $200 cash. And I was like, I wanted it so bad, and I walked away from it.
Yeah.
And that thing's probably like $25,000.
You would have made your money
easily.
back on that
Oh,
easily.
God,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. That
My
thing
dad
is-
almost bought a chimpanzee once.
Really?
He was at a pet store in D.C.
From
and-
Theodore Geisel?
No, but there was a chimpanzee, and he had just gotten paid. He had
Name
like
Theodore Geisel.
he had like $75 in his pocket, and this guy was like, you want this chimpanzee? And my dad was like, how much? The guy was like $70. My dad was
Wow.
like, he was like, I
$5
have the money in
left
my
over.
pocket. I could buy.
He could buy all the bananas for him in the world, man.
I know. That probably would have been a bad idea.
That would have been
You
great.
do not want an adult chimpanzee in your house. Like,
People
pretty
get their
crazy.
heads like faces literally ripped off. by
Oh
those
yeah,
things.
no, it's,
So
it's a terrible, terrible
those
creature. Yeah, you
ugh.
don't want them.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit into. They mentioned in the Wikipedia article that he wrote an anapestic tetrameter.
Okay.
And I don't understand those kinds of things about
Yeah.
poems, but I find them
Right.
fascinating. So I kind of looked into it a little bit. And they were talking about how it's not called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." It's called "A Visit from St. Nicholas."
Okay.
Is in that same meter. And then there was other examples. They said Eminem uses anapestic tetrameter in some of his songs. And so I was looking at the lyrics and like reading them. I was like, oh, they totally do. Like the way I am. You know, and he's like, I sit back with this pack of zigzags in this bag of this weed. It gives me the shit needed to be the most meanest MC on this earth and since birth. You know, like it's Dr. Seuss. I never
Yeah.
picked up on that before.
Yeah.
I think that's super funny.
Did you know where he got that from? Dr. Seuss? Did you read where he got that from?
Is it the German poem? Because
No.
that's what I'm about to talk about here. That was really neat. That was my biggest surprise.
Okay, go for it.
Is that somebody went to him and they were like, you know, your verse sounds like Goethe. There's this poem called Erlkönig, and it sounds just like that. And Geisel just rattled off the first couple of verses of Erlkönig.
Well, he knew it, yeah.
Because it sounds like this, okay? It's like, Wer reitet so spät durch Nacht und Wind? Es ist der Vater mit seinem Kind. And it's like, that's Dr. Seuss.
Right.
That's that same meter again.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. So that's my biggest surprise. Is
He
like,
claims he got it from there was a steamship
yes.
that
yes,
he came
right.
over, and
Yeah.
it was the rhythm of
Right.
the engines.
Right.
Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom,
What was the
ba-boom,
phrase?
ba-boom,
What was the
ba-boom,
phrase he
ba-boom.
had from Mulberry Street? It was like,
I didn't see that.
it was the one that was in his head all through it, and then he turned it into Mulberry Street. And it's not actually in the poem. It's not actually in the book.
I don't know
But
that one.
yeah, it's
But yeah, it's like the thrumming of the engine.
yeah. The what he was sick. He was seasick
Yeah.
and listening to
Yeah.
it the whole time. And that is a story that no one can beat. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street just
yeah.
kept going through his head
Yeah,
while he
yeah.
was like seasick with fever or something like that. Like,
Listening
I
to
could
the
see
engines.
that. I could see that happening to me
Yeah.
definitely. So
yeah, for sure.
I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I have to choose.
Yeah,
don't
so
I?
it's on you.
Oh man. So and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street is his first.
Yes.
And I think when we're
1934.
talking about maybe we talked about Huckleberry Finn, right? You talk about banning Huckleberry Finn, and I think you have to balance the harm and the offense against what would be lost if you ban it. Huckleberry Finn, I think the use of the one word that you could explain to a teenager and tell them it's a different time, and it's being chosen in the book to show racial prejudice, right? That's clearly worth it. Having to have that discussion, that book is good enough that it's worth it. So I think that this being so important for little kids and like learning to read and stuff like that, and touching on, we didn't even talk about how his method of embracing imagination for children touched off just all of the children's literature of the mid 20th century. All these things like Where the Wild Things Are and stuff like that. Like nobody was doing stuff like that before Dr. Seuss. And I think that would be lost. You know, like maybe if you want to, like I said, maybe some kind of editing for the Chinese guy in Mulberry Street. That's the only offensive thing in the book. I think the book could probably survive that. If I ran the zoo, I'd probably want to do something about some of those illustrations. And I think the McGilligan's Pool one is pretty ridiculous. I don't really think that that's worth canceling something that kids would really like otherwise. It opens up their imaginations. I think that the book is good enough to get over that hump. And if it comes up, just, tell a kid don't say that. That's what people
Right.
used to say. Pretty easy discussion. So in terms of a kid's book, and I love these drawings, and I remember them from when I was a kid, I would toast it.
Cool.
I think I'm in. So
All right, man. Well, it's good
All right.
to know. Cheers.
was that loud enough, or did we step on it by talking?
Oh,
Eh,
it's
a little
terrible.
muted.
All right. Well, this has been Toasting the Classics. We've toasted Dr. Seuss.
In general, I'm going ahead and say
I think
Dr.
I think
Seuss
in,
in
I
general.
think in general, yeah, I think in general.
Everybody knows
It's-
Cat in the
it's-
Hat. Everybody knows Green Eggs.
Right.
We don't need to talk about those, but
It's just well anyway, but yeah. All right. So our next one, it's going to be what in like 2 or 3 weeks from now.
oh yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be a really long time from now.
What are we doing?
We are going to be doing a film which I consider to be kind of topical, which is a 1980s classic of violent war fiction called Red Dawn.
Violent war nonfiction? What?
Nonfiction, as it turns out, yeah. So we'll talk about that
right.
on the next show. And for Toasting Classics, this is Dave McArthur.
And this is Clint Lanier.
Peace out.
Peace.
That's it for episode 50 of Toasting the Classics. For those playing along at home, get some milk stout for next week's crossover episode where we'll be discussing the works of Edgar Allan Poe. If you'd like to get in touch, please send us an email at toastingtheclassics@gmail.com. Send us show ideas, comments, complaints, and let us know what childhood classics you'd like to toss onto a flaming pyre. Check out my blog at theattractivenuisance.com and follow us on Twitter at @ractivenuisance. Our music was written by Michelle McArthur. See you next time on Toasting the Classics.